Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. This is Olivia and I'm with Ayen Cafe, and today I'm going to talk about the liberated mindset and how it's proactive about taking care of its health. So first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone who wished me a happy birthday. It was a good birthday. I enjoyed it. So for those of you who are able to listen to my last video, I talked about how a liberated mindset functions and how we're now to walk in this liberated mindset, because we're no longer in Egypt. For those who are saved, we're no longer in that place of bondage. And so we've been removed from the dominion of darkness, according to the Bible. It says in Colossians, I believe, we've been removed from the dominion of darkness and have been translated into the kingdom of God's Son. So we've been removed from that place of bondage, and now we've been put in a place of liberty, a place of freedom. And so our mindset needs to catch up with our new location. So being that we've been removed from that place where we were believing so many lies, our mind had been fashioned, our mind had been shaped by those lies that we were believing. So now that we come into this kingdom of liberty, there needs to be a renewal of the mind so that our mind catches up with the new system. Our mind catches up with the new atmosphere. And now that is what is called the liberated mindset. So today I just want to go into one of the functions of the liberated mindset. A liberated mindset is proactive about being healthy. So someone might ask, what is the big deal about being healthy, taking care of our bodies, and liberated mindset and all of that? So if you've been following our videos, we've been talking a lot about identity. So when we understand who we are, when we understand what we carry, we are eager to live that life of purpose. We are eager to release all that is within us. And all that is within us is carried within this vessel. It is carried within this, I call it this body. This body is a vessel. What you're seeing now is a vessel. This is not the real me. This is like the vehicle. This is like the body that carries the engine. So this body is exposed to so much in the atmosphere we live in. And if this body is not functioning to its best, it's not functioning at its utmost, then we carry what we carry inside of us will not be effectively delivered. So let's say, for example, I'll use a computer. So let's say someone has a computer and they decide, so this computer is old, and then they decide to download a new operating system into this computer. They are so excited that, they have the latest update. So they download and they install a new operating system. And then they have this amazing hard drive. It has a large memory. It can store so much. But then the hardware is old. The hardware is probably cracked. Probably the keyboard has some coffee from who knows when. Like the keys keep getting stuck, and then the mouse is one of those that keeps getting stuck on the screen. Every time you move it, it's like doing a moonwalk. It's going backward instead of forward. So they have an amazing operating system, they have an amazing hard drive, but the hardware is not functioning well. So no matter how good the new operating system is, no matter how it is the latest update and all of that, and they have a good hard drive, just because the hardware, whatever is carrying all these things, is not functioning well, they'll not be able to do anything much with the operating system that is within. They'll not be able to do anything with the downloads that they have in the new operating system. They'll not be able to, if they want to create a video, if they want to do all this amazing stuff, they'll not be able to do that because the hardware is not functioning as it needs to be. If the screen is cracked, then they can't see effectively what needs to be seen. So that is what is happening with our bodies. So our body is perishing. The Bible says, we live in a perishing body. And because of that, we need to take care of this body, this temple. We need to take care of it the best way we can. And sometimes we don't do that effectively because of what we've been exposed to environmentally, through media and all that stuff. So we are constantly juggling. We don't know what are the best ways to take care of this body effectively, because one way may be good in this generation, but the next generation, like, they find out like, oh, there was something wrong with what people used to do back in the day. So in this month, like, and it might even spill over to the next month, what we are hoping to do at a Young Cafe is just give people the tools, give people resources so that they are able to maneuver effectively in having the best kind of health. Because without the right tools, we can just take anything from anywhere and, try this for 1 week, try this for the next week, but then never get effective results. So that is what we're doing in this health month. And we'll be interviewing some experts, and we'll be having talks with different people who've been on this journey, have done some research, and know a little bit about what are the most effective ways to take care of our body. Because the other thing that we need to understand is that it is our responsibility. It is our responsibility to take care of this body. We may have inherited bad genes. We may be living in a very toxic atmosphere, environment, which we do. But it is still our responsibility to take the best care of this vehicle, this body that we have. Because in the end, it is us who live in it, number one. And then in the end, it has so much that is still yet needed to be released to the world. So I'll give a personal example. So last year and the years before, I was having a lot of backaches. And I was also having a lot of stomach issues. Like, I couldn't keep any kind of food down. I started doing organics and all that stuff, and I just couldn't figure out, like, I was told probably I was gluten, whatever they call it, intolerance, or lactose intolerance, and all those things. And then with my back, I kept on trying to get, massages. I tried everything, like, oh, probably it's my posture and stretches. So all those things, I was trying to eliminate the symptoms, never going to the root issue of what was happening. So I was suffering with all these ailments because of what I had been exposed to. For some reason, my back just kept on hurting me. So as time went by, I prayed for healing, and it still was not feeling better, and it affected my belief for a while, where I was like, is it that God doesn't heal back issues anymore? Which, is a lie, of course. But what I soon realized is that the Bible says that he's given us gifts of healings. And when you look at the Greek of that, it's so important to always go back to the original writings of the word, because most of the translations we have are just that, they're translations. So it's important to go back to what did the original writing say. And so when I went back to the original writing of understanding, because the Lord kept on highlighting that verse, I went back to that. It said that, he's given different kind of remedies, cures, different kind of medicine. So we can pray and be healed, but also God has given different kinds of people giftings of medicine, cures, remedies. We even read of Luke in the Bible. He was a doctor. That was a gift that God had given him, to be able to come up with different remedies and cures for different kind of ailments and situations that go on in the world. So going to a doctor is not something that is wrong. And probably you don't believe this, but there are some religions and stuff that don't believe in going to see the doctor. And there was a time yours truly, also kind of believed that, where I was like, no, I can just pray. I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't need to do all that. But, the function of a doctor, our society has kind of watered down the real meaning of what a doctor is to do, because doctors are for wellness. But we live in a society where it's so symptomatic, where whenever someone is sick, that is the time they go to see a doctor. We constantly live on symptoms rather than, oh, let me go for a checkup. Let me go and see how well I am. It's not a matter of like how sick I am. Let me wait until how sick I am. And so that's kind of like the idea behind that Bible verse, where he's given people different understanding of how to bring different cures and remedies to different ailments that may come up as we are living this life. So as I was going through all those issues with my body, I was exposed to a chiropractor. So I'm 32, and I had never really understood what a chiropractor is. And it was, I was so shocked, because I'm like, how come I never knew about this? And so I went to the chiropractor, and with the new understanding I had, I was walking in faith that, God has given people different understanding of remedies and stuff. So went to her, and I was like, hopefully she'll help me with my back issue. So go to the chiropractor, and she did an x-ray, and then I learned that, I'd been working on curing symptoms. So all the different kind of, because I would take medication sometime if my back was hurting so bad, or do some kind of, stretches and all that stuff, never understanding that there was a root cause to what was going on in my body. All these things that were now happening were symptoms of what was an underlying cause. So once I went to the chiropractor, she started helping me understand that there was a deeper issue with the structure, the way my spine is structured. So probably I'd had an accident, which I did have an accident. So I'd had an accident, or there was some other traumatic injury that had happened. And so she explained to me that the back aches that you've been experiencing have come from something, a structural issue in your spine. So either because of the accident or something else, we don't know what has been happening, but your spine is degenerating, and I will not go deep into explaining all that, because I myself just understood, the overview of it. But basically, the chiropractor helped me understand that there was a deeper underlying issue. So what I had been doing, I had been treating symptoms when I should have been treating the underlying cause. But because I had not been exposed to a chiropractor, I was working from a place of fixing symptoms rather than fixing the underlying issue. And sometimes that's what we do in today's age. We go to the doctor to fix symptoms rather than figure out what is the underlying cause of why this is happening to me. And by seeing the chiropractor, who I still see, I came to an understanding that so many symptoms we have in our body are as a result of what is going on inside structurally with our spine, or, all the other bone structures. And I came to understand how it's all connected. And the longer we wait without getting all these wellness checks, the longer we wait, it degenerates. We start seeing people who have, curved backs. We start seeing people who have chronic back pains. And it just translates to all our body, because the spine basically holds all those things. But I won't go into explaining all of that, and because the chiropractor who I'm talking about will be one of our guests in the videos we'll be doing. But I went into all that just to explain I was having a lot of issues with my body, and it was affecting my view of life. Like, there were things that I could not do effectively because I was hindered by what was happening in my body. Like, let's say if I work, with the kind of job I do, I have to sit down for long periods of time, as a counselor. But I could not effectively do that. I could not effectively work with my clients because I constantly had back aches. I constantly, was aching. So even though I might have this amazing intervention that I'm about to do, I would not do it effectively because a jolt of back pain would come upon me, and it would kind of, disrupt me. So right there, I'm just giving you an example to show how it is so important to take care of our body and to know what are the effective ways to actually take care of our body, because there's so much information out there that is not good information. It is not effective information because it just targets at the symptoms. The kind of health information we have available out there, most of it targets at symptoms, never targeting at the underlying root or the underlying causes, or never targeting at keeping us well. So that's why it's so important to have that understanding of what are the different kind of health things that are available for us out there that can target at those root things rather than targeting at the symptoms. So that's what we'll be going deeper into this month with our Ayeng live shows on Saturdays. So all that was to say, putting it back to the liberated mindset. When we have that understanding of who we are in Christ, what we carry, we become proactive about doing things effectively, number one, and then doing them well and doing them from a place of knowledge. Not just, you just don't find something online and you're like, oh, it's worked for 10 or 20 people, so now I'll go and do it. It needs to be backed up because, we only have one body. We only have one body and we can't feed it everything that everyone else is eating. Like, we need to be very proactive about taking care of it in the best way possible. Because if I only have one body, if I was told I only have one day to live, I will make sure I live it to the best, right? So if someone now comes and tells you only have one body, so we have to take care of it every single day the best way possible we can. And whatever we put inside of it, like, we have to know, what is it am I putting in my body? Sometimes we eat things, we eat out, we eat all of these things. We don't know how those things have been prepared. We don't know what kind of chemicals have been used to process these things, yet we eat them, we put them inside of our body. And this is not a guilt trip, this is just information, because most of this stuff we know, most of this stuff we've seen in videos, most of this stuff we've read about. But what is it that keeps us in that place where we're not taking that action to research about what are we eating? Research about what are we wearing, because there are products we put on our skin, there are products, even feminine products that women use, but those things are toxic to our body. We live in a toxic environment where constantly we're exposed to toxins, whether it be the water we drink, whether it be the air we breathe. It's an industrialized generation, whether it be the products we have. Constantly we hear of parabens and all that stuff. I mean, we cannot eliminate them 100%, but we can be proactive about the things we do. Whatever knowledge we have, we can be proactive and consistent about it to take care of this body that we have only been given once, to take care of it the best way possible. So that is the liberated mindset. The liberated mindset is very proactive about health. It's very proactive about making sure whatever goes into this body, whatever I do with this body, is to keep it functioning well. So that is the liberated mindset. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about before I end this video, so I talked about how society has made us believe that everything is symptomatic. Like, we just react from symptoms, never really going into the underlying causes of most of the things which are symptoms. And then I also talked about consistency. Like, whenever we are exposed to a new thing which we've done research on, we believe in this thing, there needs to be consistency. But sometimes we get so distracted by so much information, because we live in an age where information is constantly coming at us. Open Google, you open your phone, people are constantly texting, calling, and all that stuff. So there's so much information out there. So we need to do research. We need to have an expert understanding, expert mind, do research on what we want to expose our body into. expose our body to. There needs to be a lot of understanding and research. Then once we believe that this is the thing that I want to put inside of my body, or this is the kind of regimen that I want to expose my body to, then consistency now needs to come into the picture, where we're like, okay, how often am I going to do this? We may not feel like it, we may not want it. Like I exercise every day, and I've figured out like what works for my body and what is the best for my body, because not all exercise is good for our body. And when I came to that realization, I was shocked. Not everything is beneficial for our body. Some things may look beneficial, but they end up harming us more than helping us. They may help us in the short run, but in the long run, we end up having issues that come from what we exposed our bodies to, before. So it's very important to be, number one, research. Understand what is the best thing that our body needs to be exposed to. It's just like when you go for oil change. It's good to understand what kind of oil makes my vehicle run the most efficient way. I'm not just looking for cheap oil, because when you get cheap oil, number one, it burns quickly, and then number two, it doesn't oil the parts well, it doesn't lubricate everything well. So when I go for oil change, I look for quality oil. No, it's not just like I'm spending money to spend it, but I want what will last and give my vehicle the maximum benefit. Same thing with our body. Whatever we put in our body needs to be something that we know it will help our body last long. It is not just for the short term, because it's supposed to be a lifestyle. Just like, taking care of our vehicles is a lifestyle. I'm not just going to put oil change in January and hope it runs until, the next time it beeps, or until I need another vehicle. No, we put it consistently. I'm like, after every 3 months, whatever, the vehicle technician tells me, whatever they tell me, that's what, I abide by that. And then, I also learn my vehicle. So it's the same thing with our body. We need to understand, what is it that I'm putting in my body? Has it been researched on? Has it, it's not just what other people say about it. It's not what the results they are getting, because of course we all have different body types, all functions differently. And I don't know how much what someone else has been doing to their bodies that is making them respond more quicker to whatever they're using than I am. But everything we use, it's not just about testimonials. Testimonials are good, but it's all about, what is this product? What has gone into it? What kind of research has gone into it? What has science said? Science is very important. Science is very beneficial, because God gave us the gift of science to be able to learn, to be able to dissect, to be able to understand, to be able to have evidence of whatever we are using. So research is so important, and good type of research, not just any research where someone just goes and tests 1 or 2 subjects. No, it needs to be very well done, because we are taking care of the thing that we've only been given once. So consistency is key once someone has done research and knows that whatever product or whatever they're using to maintain their health is beneficial, will be good. Consistency needs to be key. Like today, I was thinking about, different things that I'm doing in my life. There are times I wake up, I don't want to exercise, but I realize I don't have to feel it. I don't have to feel it to do it. I don't have to be motivated to do it. Like I choose to drive myself. I choose to direct my will. Sometimes we give up because we're not feeling like it. We don't, today is not just a day for exercise because I'm not feeling it. No, feelings are supposed to be subjected to us. We're supposed to be master over our feelings, master over our will. Our will may not want to do something, but we know it's good, so we do it. The vehicle might not want to get, a tire change. Of course, the vehicle won't talk, but it may not look like it needs it, or a tire rotation, but because we know it needs it, we do it. So that's the same thing with our bodies. I may wake up not feeling like exercising. I know it doesn't become religion where it's like, if I don't do it, I'm damned. No, it's like the process, embracing the process, and then being consistent, still being consistent. So even as you join, please share. As you join, please share. So that's the part I wanted to talk about. Consistency is key, because remember the other thing I've talked in the other videos, we are renewing the mind, we are reprogramming, we are renovating it. So there are things our mind may not want to do because it was so used to a different kind of way of doing things. But now we are reprogramming it. So we have to tell it, like, this is the new program. This is the new way of doing things. We're no longer stuck in the old system. We're now stuck in the new ways. So that's the key with consistency. Like, there's no easy way to be consistent, but just doing it. Just saying, I'm going to do it, and it has to be done. I don't have to feel it. I don't have to, I've put things in my calendar, but never done them. Put things in my phone, but never done them. I just had to come to a place where, I'm like, number one, I have to be consistent. I have to be consistent because, number one, I know that within me, I carry the spirit of self-control. Holy Spirit, who is inside of me, is one who's of self-control. I understand who's operating inside of me, so I tap into what he is inside of me, and I bring it out into the flesh. I bring the flesh, the feelings, emotions, and all that into subjection, and say we have to be consistent. We have to do everything that is needful to be done to keep us in track, because that is stewardship. That is stewardship. There are things that God has given to us. There are things that he's put at our disposal, given us to take care of. One of those things is our body. Now to steward it, the best gift we can give back to him is taking care of this body. So no matter how we feel, we have to take care of this body in the best way possible. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is actually, I think I talked about all of it, because I wanted to say, how society has made us believe in symptoms when we should be focusing on wellness, checkups, and all that stuff. Like, those things are very important so that we are not caught unawares with different kind of symptoms. Because even for cancer, I just learned this recently, like just through doctors and stuff, that even for cancer, there are people who have cancer, it just didn't come out of nowhere. It started, but because probably, and this is not to say it of anyone who has cancer, but like sometimes, like let's say I may have it, and because I have not gone to the doctor to do those wellness checks, or they do not have a way of doing wellness checks, I don't know yet, but because of not having those wellness checks, like by the time we go to see the doctor, because the symptoms have become unbearable, it has gone out of control. When if it had been caught when he was still young, because everyone has cells that are cancerous. That research shows that everyone has cells that are cancerous. Now, when you are in an environment that speeds up the process of that growth, then it becomes malignant, and it becomes all those things the doctors say. So because of that, so it's important to know what we're putting in our body, to know the things that can disrupt the growth of those cells and make them, grow at an exponential speed and all that stuff. So I won't go into all that stuff. That's Caroline's base, and she can talk more about that, because it's so important. What I'm just trying to say, it's so important to schedule wellness checks. It's so important to be proactive in constantly being proactive about our health. Like, what is it? Planning ahead, not waiting for symptoms to attack us, then we react to it. Not waiting for us to be sick so that we treat it with medication, because most medication is toxins. And sometimes, we get angry because the medication that is good now, 10 years later, they'll start doing, ads about if you used to take this and, you're dead. Like, those ads sometimes make me mad, because you're like, now what do I do about it? I've been taking it for all these years, and now my body has experienced side effects of that toxic medication, and now you're telling me you refund me all this money, but they can never refund back our health. So it's so important to have wellness, to be proactive about taking care of our health, because when we are proactive, then whatever symptoms arises, you know, we can be proactive. We're like, okay, what is the underlying cause? And things like that. So that's the first thing. It's very good to understand that it's not about symptoms anymore. It's about being proactive and wholeness, wellness. And then second thing, like every kind of medicine practice out there is beneficial. Not beneficial that we should go to all of them, but it's beneficial to utilize them. And sometimes as not all Christians, but the times that religion, and I'll just use religion interchangeably with, you know, those rules and regulations. Religion can make us believe that, oh, only by prayer do we walk in wellness. Like you have to be prayed to be healed, and don't go to a doctor, don't do this, don't, you know, there are religions that believe that. But that is bondage, because the enemy is not the one who's given all these people who practice this different kind of remedies and medicine. It's not the enemy, it's not the devil who's given them that gifting. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. The enemy counterfeits. So the enemy will make us look at things and counterfeit them that, oh, this is not a good thing. But the truth is that, like, you know, like chiropractor, it's something very that has been around for thousands and thousands of years, but because of different kind of exposures of things we've had in media and things like that, people have a very skewed mindset. I had a skewed mindset of what chiropractor is. Even counseling, like there's still stigma around counseling just because of what people have been exposed to. So that's why it becomes very important to let me just increase my volume. Sorry. So that's why it becomes very important to understand, like all this medicine out there, they're good. All these things out there, they're good. They help us, and understanding how can they benefit me, and understanding how can they help us live a life of wellness rather than going into waiting for symptoms to occur, getting medication, and keeping up in that cycle. I hope this video was like, you know, the volume was on all this time. I hope it was, because that would be bad if I had it off all this time. And then lastly, consistency is key to reprogram our mind to be proactive. So that's all I have for today, but this is our wellness month, and what we'll be doing, we'll be bringing in different kinds of experts. So lined up, we have a chiropractor who will be talking more about what is chiropractic practicing. What is chiropracticing? I'll call it that. What are the benefits of going to a chiropractor, and what are the different kind of chiropractic methods out there? How do we know which one is best and all that stuff? So she'll go into that. And then also lined up, we have what is it called? A female hygienist who will talk more about like what are the kind of products that are better for females than the other ones which we've been exposed to. What is in our products that we don't understand, which may be causing a lot of things which women go through, like hysterectomies, things of that nature, or you know, excessive bleeding. All that is connected. Sometimes it's our genes, but most of it is activated by what we are putting in our body or the kind of products we're using. So she'll go into that and explain what all that means. And then we also have lined up a nutritionist who will talk about how to figure out the best kind of nutrition and things like that. And then we also have holistic health coach who'll talk about how to look at food from a holistic perspective. Like sometimes when people are stuck in different kind of mental disorders, like, you know, anorexia, bulimia, like there's always a reason behind that. There's always some kind of bondage going on. So she'll talk more about that because she's more an expert in that field. And then this Saturday we have a doctor in the house, and she'll just be talking about health in general. So we have lined up a pretty good group of people who will expose us to understand how to keep our body in that wholeness, keep our body whole and well, and just be proactive about taking care of our health as, you know, as children of God, and even just as humanity, being proactive about taking care of what God has given us so that we can effectively release, effectively be all that we are supposed to be in this world. So I hope this video is a blessing to you, and please share it, and please join us this Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, where we'll be talking to Dr. Josiane, and we'll be talking about health in general. If you do have any questions, you can always inbox us at IEN Cafe, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So thank you once again, and I hope this was a blessing to you, and bye.